Sullivan off his line. Oh, Chicane. Oh, I couldn't believe that. Owen. Oh, this is getting better and better and better. It's Torres holding his tie. In the Champions League final. The headline has been written.
Hello and welcome to the V2 Football Podcast. I'm your host Shane Lees, and joining me this week I've got Chris Laffin.
Evening.
I got Nick Davey.
Howdy.
And on for the first time in months, it's Owen Meek. He's back.
Hey.
Hello, strangers.
Hello. Right.
You're right.
We have got...
Return of the Meek.
Oh dear, that is tragic. Right, we have got the news. The news is back. The first thing on the news is Chelsea doctor Ava Carnero is leaving. She's left the club. And there's quite a lot of talk about legal things happening. There's quite a lot of talk about the Doctors Association in football, about them doing something. So I don't think this is quite as dead in the water as a lot of people think it is. I think there could be some repercussions down the line, especially with the fact that Jose Mourinho has had an investigation open up into him about sexist abuse, which I have heard what he said. He did call her a son of a bitch. Or a daughter of a bitch, more specifically. I think that what they're focusing on is the daughter and bitch part. So, okay, yeah, maybe there might end up being something of that. Also, Sepp Blatter is now being investigated by the Swiss. Now, I'm going to try and quickly explain what's going on here. This isn't him being arrested. This isn't him being, taken down. This is the start of an investigation. And in all probability, what will happen, even if they do find enough to, charge him on and actually arrest him, he won't ever end up seeing the inside of a prison cell because he's too old and he'll die very soon anyway. So, compassionate grounds, they won't imprison him. But they might be able to take him down. Also, the big thing is Platini is on they've checked through his emails. Platini is on a list for what they think is a disloyalty payment, which is essentially a bribe. This is a clever way of saying a bribe. So, Platini could be in trouble, and he is actually going for the presidency. He's one of the favourites, so that could change all of that. In other news, we've got Lewandowski scored 5 goals within 10 minutes in the Bundesliga.
More than Newcastle have managed all season.
More than a lot of clubs have managed. I think it was Inter Milan, Arsenal, Liverpool. It's absolutely outstanding. So
really, Liverpool?
Yeah, no, it's not many sides have actually scored that many goals so far this season, and Lewandowski has now scored more than most sides have.
Probably more than the whole of Brighton the whole of last season.
And finally, FIFA 16 came out yesterday. I brought it. Owen Meek has brought it. We don't like it. It's not fun.
I financially can't afford to buy it. It's
a game and it's just not fun. It's really, really realistic, but it's not fun at all. But there are other games you can buy. There are, PES.
The Women's World Cup hero, what's her name? Karen Carney. She said how surreal it is to play as yourself. She tweeted out today. So.
Good for her. Now, and in other news, we also have Jurgen Klopp is being rumoured to be at Anfield in the upcoming games.
Oh.
And that could mean that Rodgers is in trouble. Now, I want us to try and talk about this a little bit more. Do we think Brendan Rodgers is in real trouble?
Yes, sadly.
I don't think he is. They spent too much money, I think.
Well, they completely dismantled his own backroom staff before the season began. If anything's a death knell for a manager, it's when all of the people around you are taken away from you.
Well, deluded Brendan tweeted saying that he's more than happy for Klopp to join as long as he becomes Sean O'Driscoll's assistant. But no, I think in all seriousness, I think he's actually in a bit of pressure. But if you look at it recently, I mean, they're apart from that West Ham mare, their defeats haven't really been that bad.
Well, I think with Liverpool, it's not that their defeats have been that bad, it's that they shouldn't have been defeats. Liverpool think of themselves as a big club, and this is where I see the problem, is if it was just a media-driven thing, like the Mourinho thing, I could understand, why people would say, no, he's not in any trouble. This isn't just media-driven, this is fan-driven. The fans are driving it, and the media is feeding off of that. It's coming from the fans, and when you start losing the fans, especially at a club like Liverpool, I think you can be in trouble. If you don't start correcting it very quickly, I think it can all spiral out of control very, very quickly.
Do you believe that...
Sorry, Owen.
Sorry. I was just I think the big thing this year, looking at Liverpool, you look at the results and the way they've played, it's... Even when Liverpool haven't been a big club since the 80s. They've won Champions League, obviously. They had the season where they nearly won the title. But in terms of consistently challenging now and being a big club since the 80s, but what they've always done is been an entertaining football club. You know, you look back in the days, the Newcastle matches, Man United games in the 80s, they've always played expansive, good football. That's been missing for a while, probably first under Hodgson. Even Rodgers only had the season when he finished second was fantastic football, but this year it seems to revert to, I mean, the Man United Liverpool game, the first half had 30 seconds of highlights. So that shows you the type of football that Liverpool fans are having to sit through this season. I think that, if I was a Liverpool fan, that's what would frustrate me. I look at that and I think, playing that type of football, are Liverpool going to progress anywhere? And I don't think they will. And I think that's what concerns Liverpool fans as well.
I think one thing at the moment is it's being rumoured that Jurgen Klopp will be at Anfield this coming weekend.
Who have they got this weekend?
I don't actually remember. That's kind of bad of me. But the thing that strikes me about this is managers don't try and screw over other managers. It's kind of like the unwritten rule. Managers don't try and get other managers sacked. You have the managers' union, so to speak of. And so I'm thinking, if Klopp is going to Anfield, he's not doing that of his own free will. He's not saying, I'll go over and try and, add to the pressure. He's going to have been invited there. And the people who will have invited him there will be the board. They'll be the people who will decide if he gets sacked.
Yeah, the Mirror reported that he's been talked out of his sabbatical and that Liverpool have given him 3 games. Well, he's got until the international break.
10 days, isn't he?
Yeah.
We've got Aston Villa this weekend as well.
Okay, Aston Villa. I think if we do see Klopp, if we don't see Klopp there, I think he's under pressure, but not so much that he's probably not going to be in a job by Christmas. If we do see him there, I would be very surprised if we saw him past Christmas, because the big problem with someone like Rodgers is you're a good manager, but it's not the case that there aren't better managers out there. There are better managers out there. There's more proven managers.
I was just going to say, that's the thing, isn't it? If you look at it from a sensible standpoint, can Rodgers push them on to the next level in terms of challenging for the title? A lot of people will say no in terms of you'd probably be willing to give him a chance if there wasn't the likes of Klopp. Even Guardiola's name's being mentioned now because he'll be out of track again soon.
Ancelotti as well.
Ancelotti, oh yeah. There's managers there now. In the summer there wasn't. Klopp was definite in the summer that he wasn't taking any jobs, and I think that probably kept Rodgers in the job during the summer, to be quite honest.
Well, yeah, if Klopp turned around and said, I'm interested in a job in England, I think Liverpool would buy it. Yeah. And
that's the thing now. I think managers are starting to show their hands a little bit more, and Liverpool really have to shoot or stick, don't they? And that's the decision they make. Even if Rodgers picks it up, I think come December, January, if they're not sat in that top 3 spot, I think he'll go, purely because I think if you're a Liverpool board and you're Liverpool fans and you're looking at your current manager and who's available now and how long they'll be available for, I think you probably have to take the risk and get rid of Rodgers and bring in someone like Klopp or Ancelotti who can maybe push you on to that next level.
Do we think Rodgers has been, in a way, damned by his own words? Because 3 years ago, he said, look, when you're going to judge me in 3 years. Look at what I'm doing in 3 years and then tell me if I'm a good or bad Liverpool manager. 3 years later, not a lot of progression. There was a good period in that 3 years and there was a bad period in that 3 years. But there's not a whole lot of progression. It's kind of one step forward, one step back.
I think it's that shot in the foot. Right? Not speaking about it. Actually, I think the second season, finishing second in the league, has probably given Liverpool's board and fans a bit more faith that they were going to get to where they wanted to go quicker than maybe they were ever going to. They were lucky in the sense of City had a bit of a poor season, well, very poor season, as did Man United. And if they were, inconsistent in that manner, then maybe Rodgers would still be there and Liverpool would be happy just pushing for fifth place. But they're not, because they finished second and they think, well, we should be up there challenging for the title every season.
Okay, let's put it to a vote. Who do we think he will be in a job come Christmas or fired by then? I'm going to go with, I don't reckon he'll be in a job at Christmas.
I think he's... I'll go mid-January. They might give him a new manager the last 10 days of the window.
I just think it depends on results. Obviously, I really can't judge. So I would say yes. I think he'll get a few wins under his belt.
I think he'll be out of the job by next week if they lose to Villa.
Yeah, I think the writing's on the wall. I think with a manager being told he's going to be likely to come to Anfield with his own backroom staff being dismantled underneath him, I think that's the writing on the wall. That's if you don't really do well this season, there's not a lot else you're going to be able to do. But let's move on. And Chris has come up with a game.
Okay. Well, we're kind of back to the classics on the pitch.
Yay.
Okay, but you're all playing against each other.
Just I get wound up.
No, but I want an anagram to decide who goes first.
Yeah.
Right.
Which former Spurs star has the unfortunate anagram of vagina dildo?
I don't know.
I'm currently typing it in on Google.
I just can't think of. I'm trying to think of a player with the letter V in his name.
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
Okay, shall we? All right, former Tottenham and Newcastle star.
There's Ferdinand.
V.
Do you know what an anagram is?
David Ginola.
Jack David Ginola. Yeah.
Oh, no, okay, that makes sense now.
Okay, you go first. Who do you want to go last then, Owen?
Nick.
Yeah.
You go.
Okay, I want you to name non-European players who have scored more than 50 Premier League goals. You've got three goes each in this first round.
Non-European players scored more than 50 Premier League goals.
50 or more.
Carlos Tevez.
Yep.
Didier Drogba.
Yep.
I thought you said. Oh yeah. Non-European. What were the other two that have been said? Sorry.
Drogba and Tevez.
Luis Suarez.
Yep.
Oh,
Owen.
it's gone blank.
Want to go on the piss with Georgie?
I'm gonna have to pass. Can't think.
You can't think of anyone.
Oh, my mind is completely blank.
I've got one in my mind,
Okay, shit.
but I have a feeling I might be wrong. Dwight York. Because isn't he Jamaican?
Trinidad and Tobago.
Trinidad and Tobago, but he's not on my list.
Well, that's not European. That's Caribbean. That's really bloody far away. It's Commonwealth.
I don't really know why you said that.
Yeah.
Yay.
Hard when you think, isn't it?
I'm trying to think of South Americans.
Yeah. Not many Brazilians have really played in the Premier League, have they?
No.
And I'm trying to think if Aguero's got up to 50. I don't think he has. Or if he has, it was. How many more players have United had? I want to gamble on Sergio Aguero.
Yeah, he's got 79 goals.
Nice.
Owen?
Oh my god, my head is so cracked.
This is really hard, actually.
I know.
I'm finding it alright.
Literally, I just can't think. Like, I've got loads of players and they're just all European.
Got one.
Oh, got one. Tim Cahill.
Tim Cahill, yeah.
Googled.
56.
Actually, I was going to say Tim Cahill, but then I was thinking, didn't he play for Millwall for ages? And Millwall was shit. The one I've got, and it might turn out that he's actually scored a shockingly low number, Adebayor.
Adebayor, yeah, he's scored 96.
Really?
Yeah.
How much?
I thought, oh, wow.
He's been there for a long time.
I've got another
Yeah.
gamble, but I think he's probably scored way below 50.
Yeah.
Don't want to say him.
That's the last go kick next.
Well, I'm not going to lose, am I? Because I've got 2 and everyone else is on 2. So I'm going to go gamble and go Clint Dempsey.
Clint
I think
Dempsey,
he'll be in that.
57.
Yes.
So you could have other names. You could have Yakubu,
You could, obvious one.
Mark
How did I not
Viduka,
know that?
Mark Viduka, another former Middlesbrough. Harry Kewell,
No.
God,
Jason
why
Ewell.
the Australians? We missed all the Australians.
Kanu, Gustavo Poyet, Efan Ikuku, Yaya Toure, and Paolo Wancho.
Yeah, Poyet is actually an obvious one.
Right, so after round 1, Shane has 3, Nick has 3, and Owen has 2.
I thought Shane's got.
No, I got 1
2.
every time. We counted Dwight York because he's
Yeah,
the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I used to.
It took me a while to see him on the
It was
list.
me being an idiot. We're top of the league.
Yeah. Okay. Well, moving on from that. Now, this is a conversation Chris wanted to have. Now, this is a question: does Europe need a third competition? We're not talking about internationals, of course. We're talking about domestic here, or European football. So obviously we've got the Champions League and we've got the Europa League. Is there a call for a third competition? Now, I'm not entirely sure what you were referencing. Do you mean a competition between Champions League and Europa League, or lower than that?
Well, UEFA met last Wednesday, and it was one of the discussions they're having is whether they should, the people who don't make the group stages of the Champions League and UEFA League go into their own competition. It hasn't been given a name.
The Intertoto Cup, maybe.
But
No,
some names, but this year would have had Lazio, Club Brugge, Port Lisbon, Celtic, Monaco, Southampton, Panathinaikos, Standard Liège. So some big names would have got into it.
Yeah, but
That's huge.
at a certain point, there has to be that if you don't do well in the European competitions you qualified for, there is a genuine punishment. Southampton didn't do well in the qualifiers, we didn't deserve to be in Europe. That's simple as that.
Yeah.
The only way I can put that. There has to be a genuine punishment for if you do not do well, you don't just have another safety net of another European competition.
What day would it be on as well?
I have no idea.
Well, probably,
It's probably maybe due on a Thursday. I don't know.
probably didn't get that far in the conversation, I imagine. For me, it just seems excessive. For me, it seems money-driven. It seems like it's trying to create a safety net for other teams to sort of maintain the sort of money when they anticipate it.
It's going under the guise of Platini's laying the groundwork for smaller nations to get into more European competitions, like he has with expanding the European Championship. So, like Iceland have qualified.
We all know why Platini's doing that. It's because he's trying to secure the votes of the smaller European countries, because the European UEFA is currently a bit schismed about who it's going to vote for in the elections. So he wants to secure the majority. It's a political move, I think. I think it's a money-driven move.
Scotland are loving the idea of having this.
Of course they're loving the idea. They're shit at football. Of course they're going to like it.
I don't think
it's
it's got any legs to it. I think, as Shane said, I think it's politically driven.
I think it sounds like a terrible idea.
I don't think it'll happen.
I did like it back in the day where the cup winners had their own competition. It was
the problem I think with it, and this is what Owen's tried to address there when he said it doesn't have any legs, it's a political decision. The unfortunate thing is, in real life, when things are just made politically, they don't tend to go and happen. In football, the political decisions are the dominant ones. Look at the last few World Cups. We have more BRICS countries having World Cups than ever. We've got a World Cup in Qatar. Even the Euros, Platini couldn't decide who he was going to give the Euros to, so he gave it to everyone. I mean, political decisions are increasingly shaping, and we're talking about the federations here, where it's all politicians. They're almost all corrupt, as it's all coming out now. So if they see the money in it, and if they see that they're going to get the political favours they want to get the positions they want, I think they'd do it. If Platini gets the kind of support from the small nations he wants, I don't see why he wouldn't force it through. I don't think it'd be a good thing, but I think it could happen.
2018 will be the earliest date for it, 'cause that's when the TV rights deals run out.
Adam, if it happens, and I was a member of an international federation, part of the English FA, I'd just say, right, fuck it, we're going to disband the England football team, because international football clearly means absolutely nothing to any of these guys. Because if it did, you wouldn't be talking about adding yet more fixtures into an already congested fixture list.
Yeah.
Well, I think
the whole idea just doesn't tick any boxes for me personally.
Part of the problem is the people who are in these federations don't really know anything about football. I mean, the chairman of the FA he's a media guy. We didn't vote in a football guy, we voted in a media guy. I mean, the only chairman of any real federation who's actually been a footballer is Platini. He's got corrupt in his old age, so it's kind of all a bit irrelevant.
I don't know where the money will come from, because you get peanuts for the Europa League for playing. It's not like in the Champions League where you get £1 million for winning a match.
I think it is still worth I think it's one of those ones that's still worth doing, especially considering now there's the Champions League incentive at the end of it. For me, I just think that there needs to remain a punishment in Europe. You don't do well enough in those early stages, you don't get anything. I think it's right. Southampton didn't take it seriously in the early stages, and it was right that we got punished with having absolutely no Europe this year. You know, if you're going to do the hard work the year before, carry it through. So,
I think we should just combine every single league in the world and just have everyone play each other once, and it'll just go on and on and on.
Call it the Ultra League.
Decade-long leagues or something like that.
We can do it like Pro Evolution Soccer and have master leagues. Right, okay, we'll move on from that one. I don't think any of us are really into that idea, but it could happen with the footballing politicians these days. You have no idea what could happen. Hell, David Cameron has been alleged to have done things with pigs. What about the football guys? Right, the other discussion we want to talk about is Diego Costa and Gabriel Paulista. If you don't know what happened here, Costa was getting in Gabriel's face. He was frustrating. He was annoying him. Gabriel allegedly stamped on his foot, which there isn't actually any clear footage of it. It does look a lot like in the faraway footage. He just stepped backwards and Costa didn't move.
He wasn't even looking. He was just walking backwards.
And Costa then got a ban for 3 matches for violent conduct for clawing at Koscielny's face, and I'm assuming for a hell of a lot of other things in that game. And Gabriel's ban got taken away, so he's free to play. Okay. I want to talk a bit about retrospective action here, because they've said, Costa should have been sent off in that game, essentially that's what they've said, and they're saying Gabriel shouldn't have been sent off. But you take into account those 2 decisions in a game, do Chelsea win that game? I don't think so. At what point with having this kind of retrospective action do you have to say, maybe we need to replay a game, maybe we need to redelegate points, because we got it so desperately wrong in decisions that it's completely changed the face of the game. That's a 2-0 victory for Chelsea, and it probably wouldn't have been if Chelsea are at 10 men and Arsenal have 11, because they were on top at that point. So, do we think there's a problem now, maybe, with retrospective action?
I disagree with that, because you used the word there, probably. Arsenal probably might have won. I probably might win the lottery tomorrow night. So you just can't base it on probably. The match was played, Chelsea won. Yes, a big decision was made. However, what happens if Costa rounded the keeper, skied it out of the stadium? That's a big miss. I know obviously it's different in terms of Chelsea. Arsenal went and lost a player, so therefore they're at a disadvantage. So it's all swings and roundabouts, I think, and I disagree. The match replayed.
I wouldn't like to see match replays.
Match replayed.
Where will it stop?
Well, if officials have admitted they made big mistakes and that those mistakes completely influenced the way that game was played, influenced the result of that game, at what point do you say that the game is null and void? Because the officials, not the players, then made the errors on the game. So it wasn't like the player missed.
If they made a bad mistake in the next match, will we have to play it again?
You get the referees to start coming out and saying, we need technology and we need help.
Well, yeah, okay, there we go. That would maybe be a more sensible option, wouldn't it?
It would be, but that's what should happen. If you've now got, and let's not forget, this is a referee coming out and saying this, and referees have, for a long time, been ridiculed for not coming out and explaining their decisions, or not coming out and admitting when they're wrong. And it is actually happening on a more frequent basis now. And for me, it's happening because it is a plea for help. The games are massive now. The money in the games as well is so big. I think even referees are starting to feel like they need the video assistance that is provided in more or less every other sport in the world nowadays.
Cricket, tennis, American football, rugby,
basketball, everything. Absolutely everything. And yeah, football doesn't. I know football, and there's this whole thing. Well, it takes away the entertainment of football, but this isn't a cry for every single decision to be.
Well, the major argument is that football's a game you can play at any level, exactly the same rules, isn't it? So you just have 2 jumpers and throw it down. You play the same rules as you would in the Premier League.
Yeah, but we
That's-
also accept that some clubs are going to have far better pitches and therefore far different quality of football. You can't have that. It's not going to transcend every single level. We know that, but the core of it will, and that's the bit that matters. It's the extra bits in terms of the divisions that have all the money in them, with so much more riding on them. I think that's where maybe we can have technology, and technology. It's not going to be a responsibility of the clubs to have technology, but the leagues and all of the top 4 leagues in English football have enough money to instigate this. So. Yeah, I'd have to wonder why we're not doing it anymore. Because, I mean, you see it, like, a foul happens, and then all the players are sort of arguing with each other, and in the replays, they've gone over it 3 or 4 times, and they've got an absolute answer for you, because they've seen it completely. So, people saying, oh, it will slow the game down, game already slows down. We're not going to slow it down anymore.
I think the thing is that FIFA don't want to approve it, do they? Essentially, football has to have the go-ahead of FIFA and UEFA, and they haven't got that. And I think you're not going to get that with the current regime in place in FIFA because they're stubborn old gits, for want of a better word, who don't want to admit they're wrong.
They don't want to admit they're corrupt either.
Why we haven't had it. Because there is no other explanation for not having video technology.
No,
actually.
Okay, we'll move on to a different part of this discussion, which is a lot of people have said Costa shouldn't have been suspended. That was just part of aggressive play. How far is too far now? How far do you have to go as a player before it stops being aggressive, forward-thinking play, and that's you need to get suspended for that. You need to get sent off for that.
I think when you're scratching and biting, that's about.
Yeah.
That's playground stuff, isn't it, between girls? That is not to any sexist comments there, but scratching and biting. How much more of a woman's sport can football become?
Well, my thinking is that Costa didn't get suspended for that single action. It was an accumulative thing for all of the actions that happened in the game. Because...
Am I right in thinking that he hasn't committed a foul?
Because...
officially.
The problem is that they haven't actually given an explanation for why Costa has been suspended. And the major thing behind it is that's probably because it's for the actions over across an entire game rather than any individual action. So what I'm asking is there a style of play in terms of being aggressive that takes it too far beyond just scratching? Is it maybe how Costa gets in people's faces? He's deliberately trying to get other players sent off. It's unsportsmanlike, or is it just overly aggressive, overly physical play?
I think it's for me, Costa's definitely on the wrong side of it. I mean, for boxing, you get people who say part of the sport is the dark arts of the sport. And there's a way of going about being physical in football. You look at Alan Shearer. He was dirty, but not to the level that Costa is. And for me, that's where, that's probably your level is Alan Shearer style football, not Diego Costa style football.
Can we see this setting a bit of a dangerous precedent, though? Because the thing about football is it tends to react in big ways. Instead of saying, there are certain, tackles from behind you can do, where you're winning the ball, it's now no tackles in from behind, you're straight away in trouble there. So is there maybe a precedent for saying you can't do that kind of physical play and it end up being you can't be really physical at all? You can't really get into a player?
I think there is if they don't come out and say why. But for me, I would just come out and turn around and say he was banned because he pushed a player in the face 3 times and pushed him to the ground. And that draws on a line under it. You're not saying he was banned because he was being physical throughout the game. You're saying he was banned because he had his hand in an opponent's face. You're not allowed to raise your hands in football.
Okay, well, let's hope that someone actually does come out and say something about it. Because I do actually genuinely worry, because the way the game's going, with players going down on everything, I do genuinely worry that in the end we aren't going to have a physical game at all. Where, things like shoulder barges, proper old-fashioned shoulder barges aren't allowed. They're even starting to go in the modern game. I don't want to see that. But let's move on now. And Chris, it's the second game.
In 2008, the Champions League final between Man United and Chelsea went to penalties. I just want you to name the penalty takers. Doesn't matter if they scored it or missed it. If they took a penalty, it'll be correct.
2008. I don't even know.
Man United and Chelsea.
Man United, Chelsea, 2008.
Await the Google.
Are you joking? My internet can barely pick up Skype.
Yeah, for the viewers who this has been edited supremely, we've dropped out 3 times.
2008.
Yep.
I'll go for John Terry.
Yep, he famously missed it.
Oh, is it scored or missed?
Yep, scored almost.
Doesn't matter who. As long as he took a penalty.
I can't really remember who took penalties, but I know he definitely played in this game. Owen Hargreaves.
He did take a penalty. Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Nick-
who I'm going.
Nicholas Anelka.
Yeah, he missed the last penalty.
Trying to think who's in the team.
There was 14 penalties taken, so most players who.
Carlos Tevez.
He scored his.
I really want to try and think of like the really obscure players. Michael Ballack was in that team.
He was.
Did he take a penalty? I think he did. Go on, Michael Ballack.
Yeah, he took the first penalty.
I'm going to name all the players who like no one even cares about anymore.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
He did. He missed it. He missed the penalty.
Frank Lampard.
Yeah. Yeah. Owen's got all 3 of his points.
Okay. I bet I get this one wrong. Anderson. All I remember is I saw him play a few weeks. It was like a few months ago, and he had oxygen.
He did. So,
Did he take a pen?
he did. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All 3 points for Shane as well. So,
Shane must have googled.
I saw a video on it on Facebook yesterday.
full house now.
Well, Drogba got sent off.
Good memory.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? I think if Ashley Cole took one, because he's always been quite good at penalties. But would they let him take one in the Champions League final?
They unfortunately let him take one against Italy in the Euro.
Yeah. But he's always quite good at them before that, wasn't he?
Is that your answer?
No. I think more United. But I can't remember Rooney taking one. I really can't. I can't even remember Rooney playing the game. Whether that just sums up Rooney, but that's a different story. Yeah, go on. I'll go for Ashley Cole.
Yep, he did.
Yeah.
Oh, full house.
That one wasn't too hard. The one I was going to mention, I bet I got this one wrong, was Belletti. Because I can never remember if he's Italian or Brazilian.
Yeah, Belletti did take one. On the Chelsea side, Kalu took one as well. Then on United, you could have had Carrick, Nani, or Giggs.
Carrick was going to be my... Oh, Giggs. Yeah, I didn't even think of him.
Yeah,
Carrick was going to be my one behind Cole.
Oh,
That was basically just named Man United and Chelsea players from a while ago.
So after the second round, Shane has 6, Nick has 6, and Owen has 5.
Hooray!
Top of the league. Right. Okay, we're going to move on to our next discussion, and this is
And
after...
speaking of top of the league,
Sir Alex Ferguson has had his... well, he's been saying a lot of things. I think it's a biography, isn't it, of some sort?
Yeah.
It's like he's having a serialisation of a biography.
basically they're trying to piss Roy Keane off.
Yeah, essentially. And he says in his time he only had 4 world-class players. And that was Ronaldo, Cantona.
Yep.
Can't remember the other 2.
Goals and gigs.
Skulls and gigs, yeah, okay, will be obvious ones. Now, I want to try and keep this conversation Man United focused because we talked about legends and world-class players a few weeks ago. Is this an assessment we agree with? Did Man United only ever have 4 world-class players in the Ferguson era?
Probably. It's probably just down to Fergie being a world-class manager.
No,
Schmeichel was a world-class goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Schmeichel.
Rio Ferdinand in the choice.
No, I don't. I wouldn't have gone
Between
for
5
that.
and 10, possibly.
I wouldn't use Ferdinand as a world-class player.
I'd say he was a great player, but not a world-class player.
Yeah, they had.
He was a player everyone wanted in their side, but if you had the very best centre-backs in the world in your side, he wouldn't have been in the consideration.
The big thing with Ferdinand and the other player who a lot of United fans would probably argue was a world-class defender was Vidic.
Yeah.
But when
Again,
one
though,
wasn't,
again, great
when
player.
one wasn't playing with the other, when one wasn't playing with the other, they weren't. I wouldn't say they were as good as when they were playing side by side. For me, if you're a world-class player, you make a difference in the game regardless of who you're playing alongside.
Okay, another one.
What
Gar-
about Beckham?
Well, Beckham, Gary Neville, he's arguably the epitome of a fullback. I mean, can you think of many better right backs than Gary Neville?
All modern day fullbacks are probably based on Gary Neville's.
Yeah.
Again, I wouldn't say world class. I'd say great player, not world class. I think Fergie's got it right, to be honest with you.
Well, okay, we've all come up with a few names we think maybe are in the mixer. So what do you think has motivated Alex Ferguson to turn around and say this? Is he just trying to piss off a few people?
Sell some books.
Roy Keane.
Or do we think he genuinely thinks that he only ever had 4 world-class players and he was maybe talking them up a bit when he had them, but now he's just being honest?
Piss off Roy Keane.
I think for me, if you look back to the Ferguson era, he would say, players. He'd say when he'd have good players, etc. But he wasn't able to use this world class term even when he was a manager. And I think he is. I think he's old school in his view of what world class is. I think world class has become, it's such a broad definition used by commentators use world class. Harry Kane scores a hat trick and he's suddenly world class. And I think Ferguson is just right in his belief that world class is a completely different category to other players. You've got to perform at that level, at the highest level, have an influence in the biggest of games, drive a club's or an international team's season or competition, be the driving force of it, and do that over a long period of time. That, for me, is a world-class player. When you look back on the career, that, for me, would be defining a world-class player.
I think what we've got here is a problem of semantics. In the sense that in the modern era, the current era of football, what we've got Ronaldo level and Messi level, and under that you need a definition for world class players between the good and the great players, and the world class players. But then you need to have a little in between spot because that's where you put in your Iniestas and your Pirlos, because you can't say they were great players; they were better than that. They just weren't Messi and Ronaldo level. And I think what's happened is Ferguson is a tiny bit behind that era, just a little bit. He was there when they were maybe not quite at that level yet.
No, he has come out and said there's only 2 world-class players in the world today, and that's Messi and Ronaldo.
Well, yes, I think what he's doing. I think what he's doing is he's using it's a bit of a semantics argument where he's saying this is world class, and the players we would normally talk about being world class, he'd say they were great footballers. And when he says that, he's giving them some of the highest praise he can. It just sounds in the modern way of hyperbole and speaking. It sounds like he's actually taking the piss a bit. He's having a go.
For me, the easiest that I think you have. It's not really once because more. I think you have your once in a lifetime type players, your once in a generation type players. Your best, your Stanley Matthews, your Messi's. They change the way the game is played, and they're probably you would describe them as being ahead of their times, and that's the bracket reserved for them. And then underneath that, you have your world class players, your Iniestas, your Pirlos, those types of players. And I don't think the likes of Beckham. I don't think Beckham would fit in that group. I don't think Gary Neville would fit in that group, that world class group. You only have to look at what they've done. I think you most definitely want to do it on the international stage and for your club to be defined as truly world class.
Do Man United have any world class players at the moment? Because we talked quite a lot before. A few weeks ago about Wayne Rooney, about what level we thought he was at, how he's going to be remembered. But in terms of, we're talking strictly club level, we're talking at Man United at the moment, do they have any world-class players? And because I have a suspicion a lot of people are going to say no, my question would be, do they have anyone who's even close?
David De Gea?
De Gea, possibly. Yeah.
I'd say maybe De Gea, but I just don't think he's going to be here next year, so I'd add that proviso on the end of it.
But other than that, no, I don't think they've got a world-class player.
Across the whole Premier League, like world-class players.
Aguero, I'd say, is at that level. If he stops getting injured so often, when he plays, Aguero, I'd say he's at that level. And because he consistently does it when he plays, the only problem with him is he's just injured all the time. That's it. That's the only problem. When he plays, he's always at that level, I think. So Aguero, I'd put in it. Hazard, I think, will be there. I don't think he's quite there yet. I think he will get there in about 2 years.
Yeah. Sanchez, I'd put close to there as well.
Yeah, Sanchez is definitely very close.
So we've got a lot of very close to world-class players.
Yeah, I'd say you have obviously quite a lot of, you have a few world-class players at the likes of Bayern Munich and Barcelona and Real Madrid. Obviously we're talking about Messi and Ronaldo.
So like Manuel Neuer, would you class him as well?
He's the best goalkeeper in the world, and he's
I'd say
up there all the time.
I would
then-
even say De Gea's close to being world class.
But then if you look at, like, say, Bayern Munich, you look across their squad, okay, maybe we'll put Robin in there. Maybe. Lewandowski scored 5 goals, but let's try and look at a bit bigger picture. How many more players do they have? Lahm was world class. I'll say he was world
I think
class.
the thing is, as well, if we're going for a true, if you're going for a world class team, you can only pick 11 players. So world class is really, are you the best player in your position in the world?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they had this argument was on the forum. They had some people saying, well, you pick the top 5 players in that position, and they're the world class players, which I wasn't quite.
That's a bit expansive, because then you end up putting Marcello as one of the best left backs in the world. He just
you
isn't
say
that
he's
good.
better you say he's better than Bale, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, talking about the world class players, I think there aren't that many of them when you're trying to talk about it in that kind of regards, and so I can see where Ferguson was coming from. And I think a lot of people have looked at it and said, "Oh, the Premier League is not a world class league anymore. Oh, look at the likes of Spain because of all these names." It's actually kind of well divided, I think, at this point. And I do think that's good for overall viewing of world football. But, okay, we're going to move on.
Ferguson also did say that Brian Robson and Steve Bruce were his favourite players to work with.
Steve Bruce.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Good for them. We're going to move on. And we're moving on to the final part of Chris's game.
Hooray!
Right, so the third part is a bit different. It's in your mind's eye. If you imagine 10 boxes, each box has a question in it. So, a proper question. So.
Right, okay.
And I did
Are
this.
the boxes are labelled 1 to 10?
It's your mind's eye. So. I did try this out on the guys in work, and they got half a point. So I'm not expecting great things. So. All right. So
hold on, I'm a full point behind. So is there anything to be playing this?
Owen, pick a number between 1 and 10.
7.
7. Name a player who has won the Copa de Libertadores and the Champions League.
Jesus Christ.
just one player. There's 7.
Oh my days.
I said him earlier, so I'm going to go for him again. We'll go. Oh, actually, someone else just came in my head. I don't know.
Carlos Tevez, yes, that's right. You could have had Ronaldinho, Cafu, Dida, Roque Jr., Saron, or Walter Samuel. Okay.
Basically, it was just classic Brazilian players.
It was. Shane?
Oh, God. I'm going to go for my lucky number, 8. Do you want to know why it's my lucky number?
Because it goes with your nickname Skittles.
No, you turn it on its side and it's infinity and it's every number.
I think you did it last time we did this.
I don't care.
Alright, I like this question. Alright, what was unique about Alvin Marvin's hat-trick against Newcastle in 1986?
What? I don't even know who that is. Are you kidding me?
You'll still get it right.
He didn't score a single one with his feet.
3 headers. No.
Is that it?
No.
Oh.
It's not unique, is it? No?
No,
The hat-trick of own goals.
Hat-trick of icicle kicks.
Oh my, what the fuck is this question? I'm just gonna go with, he scored them all from 1 yard out.
No.
Damn.
Yeah, he scored against 3 different goalkeepers. He scored the first one against Martin Thomas, who went off injured at half-time. They had no substitute goalkeeper on the bench, so defender Chris Hodsworth went in, and he scored the second one against him. He later went off injured. So Peter Beardsley went in, goal, and he scored the third one against Peter Beardsley.
I tell you what, I wasn't even alive at this period of the question you've asked me.
I wouldn't have even been thought of at this point.
Maybe you need to rethink your lucky number.
It's my go. Number 6.
Number 6. Who is the only player to have played international football in 4 different decades?
Bugger. 4 different decades?
Yeah.
I can't know this.
Is it someone who's really recent, or is it quite before my time?
It's recent.
Actually, I think I know this one. Oh, why didn't I pick 6?
Not Pirlo.
I'll have to rush you. Come on. If you want to finish by past.
Okay. Is it? Oh, is it that player who plays for Colombia? Oh, bugger! I'll just go for No, I won't. I'll just go for Pirlo.
No. It was Yari Littman.
Yeah, the Finnish. Well, I didn't know his name. That Finnish guy.
Yeah, he
Oh,
made his
never.
debut in 1989, and his last appearance was in 2010.
Bloody hell!
Oh, so that's scores a level now. Owen. Right, Owen,
Number 2, please.
who is the oldest ever World Cup winner?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
These questions, you have to have a proper think about them, don't you? These aren't ones you're just going, oh, I know this, off the top of my head. I looked this up the other week, just for fun. Christ.
I said at the beginning, you probably just have to know them. So.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Well, that one, I think you can just sort of guess for old players. Famously old players, that's what I'd think of.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Oldest player to win a World Cup. Can't imagine there's that many old players to win the World Cup. And then if it's like in the 70s, 60s, 70s, I'm just going to have a random guess at Buffon.
No, but it is a goalkeeper. Dino Zoff, 1982. 40 years and 133 days.
See, do you know who I would have said? The Brazilian left-back who also played alongside Pelé in all the 3 World Cup win. Don't know his name, but that's who I'd have gone for. You'd have known who it was.
Okay. Shane.
Oh, Jesus. 4, because it's half of 8.
Okay. Which Chelsea legend is the only player to have been sent off in the World Cup finals on his birthday?
I bloody know this one. I know this one. Because, no, we've done a quiz before where this was on it, and it's...
Was it?
Yeah, well, no, it wasn't this question, but the player... It was the quiz I did, where I talked about World Cup sendings off. I'm torn between 2 players, which is either... No. Okay, I'm going to go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Marcel Desailly.
No.
Oh, he got...
Gianfranco Zola.
That was the fucking other player.
He was sent off against Nigeria on his 28th birthday.
Are you kidding me? Oh, my. Can I get a half point?
How?
Because that was the other one.
Yeah, it's off with my alarm as well.
Oh,
Nick?
I feel robbed.
Yeah.
You've got 1, 3, 5, 8 and... no, sorry. 9 and 10.
Number 10, please.
Number 10. How many toes does former Hull City defender Figueroa have?
How many toes?
Yeah.
That's easy, because that's just a 50-50 guess.
Well, it's obviously not going to be 10, is it, now you've asked me that? 9.
No, he has 8. He has 3 on his left foot.
Ugh.
That was a bit harder than I thought. I was going to say it was either 9 or 11.
Yeah.
Alright, Owen, you've got 1, 3, 5 or 9.
1.
1. Who was the youngest player to ever win the World Cup?
Oh.
So to put you into the lead.
God.
It's a draw.
Okay, World Cup, famous World Cup winners.
I think I know this one. God,
I
why
mean,
didn't
it's
I
got,
pick it?
it's got to be Pele, hasn't it? Pele.
It was Pele,
It is, yeah.
17 years, 209. Oh, he's took the lead. Right, Shane.
Okay, I'm going to go for number 9 because it's next to 8.
Okay. Manuel Neuer starred in a German version of which Disney Pixar film?
This was in the news recently, wasn't it? This is a recent film.
It's a recent
'Cause
film.
I have a feeling If I name it slightly wrong, because I know what it is, but I don't actually know what the full title is, but it's like Monsters, isn't it? It's Monsters. Like,
Monsters.
you know the ones with the doors, they walk through the doors, it's like they made a remake of it, or they did something. It's Monsters something.
Yeah, what?
Can you give me that? Come on, we know the film I'm talking about. I don't know films.
I don't know. I need more description than that.
It's like Monsters College, it's like Monsters, something like that.
Yeah, I think
Monsters University.
Monsters University, yeah.
Shit me, come on. Big point.
Alright, so Nick. To level.
No, the last one then.
3.
Oh, so now I've got 2 options, yeah.
Yeah, 3 or 5.
I'll have number 3, Gordon Greer. 3.
Right. Who are the only team to have received a gold version of the Premier League trophy?
Gold. Man United.
No, it was Arsenal, and when they went undefeated all season.
So, Nick, you have not got the lucky questions.
Well, to be fair, it's pretty easy actually. If I just thought about it, so just diving straight in.
All right, so Shane and Owen, do you want to play off the question?
I'll go on then.
Manjavic's surname is completely made up of Roman numerals. Add them up.
What?
Oh.
I'm really good with Roman numerals as well. Wait. No, it is. It is. I'm thinking X. Shush, Shane.
Oh, this is ridiculous.
VIDIC.
516?
Nope.
No, shit, I've been an idiot. 1,516.
No.
1,507.
No.
No, wait, I can do this, hold on. Because that's that. 600. 607.
607.
Yes, come on, I can name 7 Roman emperors in a row. I know everything about Rome, come on.
I'm not sure that counts as a win. He just kept guessing until he got it.
No, because V is 5, I is 1, there's 2 of those. D is 500 and C is 100. I thought it was 1,000, that's why I got it wrong.
Like a countdown conundrum, you shouldn't have been asked answer after giving yourself all.
Well, you did. You could have done it. You could have guessed it. You could have guessed off my wrong ones.
I didn't want to give a wrong answer. I thought the right answer.
He didn't say we couldn't just guess.
In my I just kept going until I got the right answer.
So I win. Yes. Bit of an anti-climax.
An asterisk next to that victory. If that was Chelsea Arsenal, we'd be reviewing that and maybe think about it.
See, if that was like name a whole bunch of Roman emperors, I'd have definitely won that. I can own that. Would you like me to?
No.
I
I thought we wanted to be finished by past.
I can do like 7. Come on, 7 in a row.
You can do. Not while we're on the air.
Okay, yeah, this is a football podcast, not an ancient Roman podcast. Right, okay, Chris wants to quickly say something about the Football Blogging Awards, which are still going on. So, Chris?
Yes, nominations close on Sunday. We've had a brilliant response so far, so keep nominating us. Nick desperately wants to go see Bianca Westwood.
Yay!
So keep voting. Yeah, we want to be in the podcast category, obviously. Links will be in the descriptions below.
Okay. Also, please check us out on Twitter at V2Football and on Facebook at V2Football. Please go onto the forum and get involved in the discussions. There's obviously quite a lot on there. 606V2. That's all from me. So thank you.
One last. If you like reading your interviews, we have got an interview with Michael Bridges on the Journal this week. And we've got one with Women's World Cup hero Karen Carney.
Really?
Yes. So if you like reading your interviews, we've got them 2 up on the Journal this week. So.
Okay, thank you for joining us this week, and goodbye.
Good night.
Good night.